If you clicked on this video because you want to learn how to get straight A's effortlessly, you're in the right spot. Getting perfect grades doesn't have to be so complicated. That's why in this video, I'm going to give you a no BS guide on how to study effectively. So throughout my life, I've always had pretty good grades. In primary school, I was a valedictorian. In high school, I had a 4.0 GPA while studying max 2 hours a day. And now, I'm a student at Yale University studying computer science. And over the years, I've built enough knowledge that you can call me like an academic weapon. And I'm not gonna lie with you, I am that guy in school. I'm that Asian boy who just happens to ace all his tests. That Asian kid who just happens to have like 100 different interests, 100 different hobbies, projects, programming, debate, music, piano, you name it. And I'm not trying to show off or sound cocky, but I probably spent the least amount of time studying in my class. But that's because I learned how to study effectively. And now, being at Yale University, an Ivy League institution, studying computer science, I'm surrounded by so many academic weapons. But guys, I'm no different to you. I'm a student, you're a student, and we're both trying to make it out. I've tried it all. I've tried highlighting, the Pomodoro technique, making pretty notes, flashcards, studying with friends, you name it. And in my journey in being an academic weapon, I've learned a lot. And what I've realized is that you can actually make studying simple and fun. So whether you're 13 years old or whether you're in high school studying APs, the IB, or A-levels, or whether you're a university student, this video will be valuable for you because learning is something that's extremely important for every single one of us. So you might as well become an academic weapon now to make your life more enjoyable. So the first thing you need to do is change your broken monkey mindset. I often hear a lot of people saying stuff like, oh, I studied for 10 hours a day, or I studied until 3 a.m. yesterday, and they think it's a flex. But honestly, I don't think it's a flex at all. I don't know about you, but for me, I would much rather study 2 hours a day and still get the same results, if not better, than the student who studied like 12 hours a day. Because what you need to realize is that the time you spend studying does not equal knowledge gained. And it's the same way, like if you want to get shredded in the gym, you don't want to do like 20 sets of 100 push-ups because your arm's gonna die, right? You want to do 3 to 4 sets of reps that are reasonable. Or say you're trying to practice the piano. It is much better to practice 30 minutes a day consistently rather than just like clip out 12 hours in a single day because you're gonna burn out. Guys, what's most important is that you study effectively. The smartest students that I personally know, they understand the principles of deep work. So for example, one of my roommates, Cody, he took 20 APs back in high school, which is a crazy amount if you know the American education system. And what I've learned from him is the value of having deep work sessions, like study sessions where you're completely focused on a task. And so your goal should be to become that student who only needs 1 hour to finish an economics chapter, whereas most students would need a week. So now you might be thinking, Collin, how do I study? Like, what's the best way to study? The first law that I want you guys to be familiar with is called Parkinson's law. And Parkinson's law is about setting goals for yourself and deadlines. So let me give you an example. Let's say you had math homework due next week and you gave yourself one Saturday to finish that entire math homework. Because you gave yourself the entire day to do your homework, what ends up happening is that you just waste so much time during that day. You're probably gonna end up working on your math homework for like 6 hours, when in reality, you only probably need like 30 minutes. The point here is that if you give yourself too broad or too long of a lifespan to do something, you're gonna waste so much time. So Collin, what should I do instead? The next time you get an assignment or the next time you decide you wanna study for a class, try to set deadlines for yourself in hours, in very specific hours. Let's say 2 hours to complete this math piece set. And if you write that down on your whiteboard or if you write it on Google Calendar, for example, you're gonna save so much more time. And now you will feel that when you give yourself that time constraint, you're like 10 times ultimately more productive. And worst case scenario, if you're not done with your math problem sets by the end of 2 hours, you can always add more time. But you cannot take back time that you procrastinated with. You cannot take back time that you wasted. And that is the key difference here. Also, one thing to note is, guys, don't be like overly unrealistic, right? Don't tell yourself, I'm gonna finish 30,000 word essay in 15 minutes. That's just like complete BS. But still give yourself a little bit of a challenge. And I promise you that by the end of the deep work session, you will be happy and really proud of yourself. So the second important part of this video is answering the question, how do I study? What techniques should I use? Most students, what they do is passive studying. So this looks like, for example, just reading the textbook, just rewriting notes and trying to make it look aesthetic and pretty. And then at the end of the day, you're like, I'm done. 10 pages of beautiful notes. I'm totally being productive. Nah, in reality, you're really just like procrastinating. It may seem like you're doing a lot of stuff, but in reality, you're really not. And guys, I was once guilty of this too. Now, it's not to say that writing notes are completely useless. No, it's not. But if your primary method of studying is just rewriting notes from a textbook, then you're doing something wrong. So what should you do? Now, one of the best study techniques, in my opinion, is active recall. Active recall looks like doing past paper questions. It looks like searching for practice exam papers online and just going through all the questions one by one. This, in my opinion, is the most effective way to study and do well for your exams. Because if you're actively trying to take that information from your head to answer questions, soon enough, that knowledge is going to be ingrained in your brain. And most likely, your professor or your teacher is probably going to repeat some of the past exam questions. Maybe it's going to be worded differently, maybe the numbers are slightly changed, but the main concepts are going to be the same. And I truly believe, guys, that if you study by answering questions, you will become an academic weapon. So that is active recall. But there's actually a way to make active recall even more powerful. And that is by combining active recall with spaced repetition. And so basically how spaced repetition works is that you're doing active recall for a long period of time. So say for instance, you're gonna have like a biology exam next month. What you want to do is for every week, for 4 weeks before the exam, you want to take as many practice exam questions as you can. And that way you're chipping in your studying and it's almost going to be like muscle memory by the time you take your exam. So this is probably the best study method that I personally use to get good grades. Now, I want to talk about focus, because studying without focus will bring you nowhere. Nowadays, there's like so many distractions around us. You have Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Netflix, you name it. And what most students do is that they study while scrolling their Instagram like every 5 minutes. Me personally, I like to separate my study time from my fun time. So this looks like, for example, committing to study for 30 minutes without any distractions, and then afterwards, I can check Instagram or something like that. Guys, you don't have to go like complete monk mode and delete all your social media and things like that. But what you can do is instead tell yourself, okay, after I'm done with my math homework, then I can watch that Netflix show. And so now you're shifting your mindset into changing these distractions into rewards for studying hard. And this is really good for you because you're training the brain to do hard things and to remove distractions. Now, another thing that I love to do is waking up earlier. So me personally, I really like waking up in between 5:30 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. But it's gonna be different for every person. So say for instance, you normally wake up at 8 a.m. Maybe try to wake up at 7 a.m. and from 7 to 8, get some deep work sessions. And I personally find that in the mornings, it's usually very peaceful and quiet, and you can get that deep work pretty easily. Also, if you wake up earlier, you're normally not gonna get your phone buzzing all the time, so you're more free from distractions. Personally speaking, I would much rather get my work done before dinner time as opposed to having to study from like 10 p.m. until 2 a.m. And I'm a huge believer in balance, and I think that balance is very important. Balance to academics, health, and to your personal life and having fun. So try to get rid of distractions, because 2 hours of deep focused work is much better than 6 hours of mid-focused work. The final thing I want to talk about is setting goals for yourself. I'm a huge believer in setting goals for yourself, not just for grades, but also in your personal life, also in your health, also in your ability to make money and learn new skills. So if you want to get straight A's in school, if you want to get a 4.0 GPA, make it clear to yourself, make it crystal clear that that is one goal that you're trying to accomplish. Because if you don't have goals clear set in your mind, then it's going to be hard for you to do like intentional deep study work sessions to become an academic weapon. And if you don't know what your goals are, or if you're trying to make new goals for yourself, the easy way to do this is try to imagine yourself in the next 10 years. Try to visualize yourself and see who you want to become. So maybe for me in 10 years, I see myself completely jacked with a six-pack. So I reverse engineer that goal and I create activities centered around achieving that goal. And I promise you guys, if you have clear goals, you're gonna level up in life. So that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you guys got lots of value from it. I have full confidence that if you follow the steps in this guide and you work hard, you will become an academic weapon and you'll get good grades effortlessly. My name is Collin and I make videos on college, self-development, and high performance. So if you want to be part of my journey, stay tuned, make sure to like this video and smash that subscribe button down below. God bless the hustle. We're all gonna win one day, and I'll see you in the next one.